Welcome to another episode of Deal or Bust, where founders come to try and sell their companies live. Make sure you don't miss past episodes or future ones by going to nathanlatka.com/invite. And if this is your first time tuning into the show, welcome. I see Jeff Gates in the comments, Stan Rymazak saying, let's freaking go. And guys, this is going to be super interactive. People are calling it the Shark Tank for SaaS. And what it means is in the first 5 minutes, you meet the founder of a great SaaS company. The one today has bootstrapped his way to millions of revenue, millions of profit. The P word, which we love, profit, profit, profit. We're going to dive in. We've got 3, 4, 5 buyers on today, along with world-renowned experts in the B2B SaaS space. They've sold companies, they're growing companies, they're currently at big companies like Airtable, driving business development. We've got a great lineup for everybody today, but it's not possible without you guys being hyper engaging as well. So as you meet the founder, and as the founder talks through the product, and as we put up the financials on the screen, you can ask questions in the comments and I will go to you guys live. See how cool this is? I can go and say, boom, here's Hasig saying, ready for the show. Haven't missed one so far, tuning in from Switzerland. So those of you watching on LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, tell us in the chat real quick, where are you joining from? And are you a founder or an investor? Where are you joining from? And are you a founder or an investor? Henry saying he likes the format with more buyers. That's great. Chris, good to see you, man. Chris, I'm going to mess up your last name. Monteiro. Hope I got that right. But I'm excited to see everyone here live with us. And again, if you're just now tuning in and this is your first time seeing the show, visit nathanlatka.com/invite to make sure you don't miss next week's episode. Now, here's what you saw last week. We saw a buyer say, quote, I'd value this at $600,000 to $900,000. It was a subscription box company called Hemp Crate Co. Go watch that episode after today and see if they got a deal done. But the ratings were incredible. Here's what critics were saying. Clifton saying, really enjoyed this. It feels like the next Shark Tank. Ebenezer saying, great show. This could be the next Shark Tank. And Brian saying, aspiring entrepreneurs and founders, this is well worth the watch. And you guys have shown it in terms of views and engagement. Our first episode getting called 8,000 views, more recent ones getting up there towards 15,000 views. And a lot of you guys clicking the like button if you're enjoying the episode. And most importantly, you click the like button to root for the founder. Because it takes extreme vulnerability for a founder to come on, bear their financials live, take offers live, and try and get a deal done live. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you click subscribe here on YouTube to not miss any future episodes. And I'm going to tease you here with our founder today. Look at this headline. I'm going to tease you with our founder today. Our founder's smiling on the back end. I'm doing a good job, right? I'm going to pump you up here. The deal is in this space that you see on my screen right now. The deal is in this space. I'll read it. Dropbox buys electronic signature startup HelloSign for $230 million. This was back in 2019. The deal is in this space. So what does that mean? Well, before we get to meeting our founder today, I want you guys to meet who we've brought on to help the founder. None other than Andrew Warner, host of Mixergy, a guy that has seen more businesses, met more founders than maybe anybody else on earth. This podcast was one of the first ones I listened to before I launched my first company. And he comes with street cred. He built a $30 million per year business when he was in his 20s and exited that before getting into Mixergy. He'll join. David Peterson is joining. He's leading growth and business development at Airtable today and co-founded Stewart before that, which was acquired. He's also ex-Comstack. We've got Andrew Gazdecki, who also walks the walk and talks the talk. Built a company called Business Apps to north of $10 million in revenue before selling it back in 2018. Now is helping founders sell at microacquire.com. Microacquire.com is a startup acquisition marketplace, free, private, no middlemen. Now, who are our buyers today? These are the guys with the money, the checkbooks. We've got Tim SCHUMACHER coming on. He was the founder of AdBlock Plus. He also is now the co-founder of SaaS Group, which is buying SaaS companies, most recently Sniply and Scraper API, along with many others. He's targeting B2B SaaS 1 to 10 million companies. We've got Preston Tucker, founder of PMT Ventures, ran a 9-figure business at Amazon before jumping out and now buying SaaS companies. We've got Raj Shaith, a first on the show. He's building Deca Lab. He bought flydata.com, and I love this model, guys. Flydata.com had raised $10 million in equity before Raj came in and purchased it. So he is now actively buying SaaS companies, doing interesting deals, even from companies that are highly funded on the equity side. along with Fred. We've got Fred, who built Luna Robotics and exited in 2013. And this is an interesting buyer because he owns and operates 1,300 hotel rooms in New York City. And 2 years ago, started doing deals in SaaS for one critical reason that you guys might be able to guess. SaaS subscriptions look a lot like stickiness of hotel rates and someone coming and buying a hotel room every night. He loved that model so much. He said, Nathan, I like this deal. I want to come on as a buyer. So we've got a great group of experts and buyers today. Now we just got to meet the founder who's built this incredible company, $3.2 million last year top line, $1.6 million in profit. Wait till you see the numbers this year. We have them. We're going to show them. I want you to meet the founder. But guys, root him on. Get him excited. This is Chris. I just blew his name. Chris is an engineer. So I'm going to say this delicately. Engineers need a little extra energy to agree to anything live. He would much prefer to be sort of in a darker room right now, pumping out code and security things and running his bug bounty program at the company. So click the like button to root this guy on. I'm excited for you guys to meet him. Let's go ahead and bring him on right now. Chris Devor. Chris, welcome to Deal or Bust.
What's going on, Nathan? Thanks for the introduction.
You're choosing Coke, right? You got energy flowing through the stream?
Yeah, we're down in this. When you drink Coke so infrequently, it has a pretty good effect. On the day where you have a little bit of sugar. But yeah,
I'll let you chug it while I put up the slide here, guys. The company is called DocHub. It enables you to edit, send, and sign PDFs online for free. Chris, when did you launch the company?
So we launched in 2014. And I guess before that, we had actually done MacroPlant. So I've basically been bootstrapping for 10 years or 11 years now. But 6 years ago, we switched from making iPhone apps to launching DocHub. And since we launched in 2014, we've basically grown through the roof. We're actually seeing even today, I think, an all-time record number of users on the site. And revenues are also just about at an all-time high as well. We're seeing some pretty crazy numbers, and then we're looking at the valuations in the space here, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So
Chris, what are you looking? Usually we wait to the end of the episode to do this, but we're going to get into all your data here in a second. But so what are you looking for today? I've cast very specific buyers for you. What's like the sort of what's going through your head life-wise? What do you want in terms of a deal?
Yeah, so we've been bootstrapping for, as I just said, a long time now. It'd be cool to be able to partner with somebody or sell and move on to the next thing. We're open to anything. One of the key things that I want to get out of this here is getting an idea of what the valuation should be for my business. What people are actually willing to pay. Because basically things can be there's a very large spectrum. So the numbers that I can come up with, they can be like 2 orders of magnitude apart, and they can seem pretty reasonable. But yeah, so I want to see what other people think, and if somebody wants to throw a bunch of cash at me and let me have a vacation, that'd be something we'd consider.
Well, you guys are going to see in the P&L coming up, he's paying himself $500,000 a year. So he already has plenty of money to do whatever the hell he wants, which is great. We'll dive into the founder payouts here in a second because, Chris, I think you're building a SaaS company. How most founders, in my opinion, this is how you should build a SaaS company. Ignore VC, have profits, pay yourself a lot of money, build wealth, diversify, and then keep doing what you love. Now, guys, if you're just tuning in, I see about 124 of you guys watching right now and a bunch more coming in. You're watching a new episode of Deal or Bust. We just met Chris Devor, the founder of DocHub, an online PDF signing and management software. Some of you guys, like Fitness Deal News, says, dang, I use DocHub. All of you guys watching right now, anyone else use DocHub? Say, I use DocHub in the comments. I see you LinkedIn. I see you, the LinkedIn's a little more shy than YouTube, but what do you guys think? Periscope, I see you there too. How many of you guys are using DocHub or you've heard of it? Oh, all right. Cameron's saying, wow, pricing's amazing in comparison to DocuSign. We'll talk about that with Chris here in a second. But again, want to welcome everyone. Chris, let's now here's what we're going to do in terms of show-wise. We're going to spend about 3 to 5 minutes talking through the product. We're then going to meet the buyers. The buyers will ask tough questions about the P&L, the business model, the growth or the not growth, churn.
I love these comments here. I think we already got like a dozen more subscribers.
They're good comments, man. They're good.
Every time I see stuff about DocuSign too, I actually think our product is more user friendly and works better. And every time I go to use one of the competitors.
Chris, Steve says he's switching to you. I get a 10% commission on all revenue I drive you during the show. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll give you. I think that comes out to maybe like 70 cents a month.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm kidding. Let's talk through the product here. Okay, so there's 4 critical features that you've built into the product. Talk me through the obvious ones, signing documents. How do you enable folks to sign documents?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the reason that I built DocHub, it was basically in 2014. I was still printing and scanning anytime I needed. If I needed to sign a document and I got it, in my inbox, everything that was out there, and I don't know if much has really changed that much with the other people, but I was still, if someone sent me a PDF and they're like, sign this, I'd print it, sign it, scan it back, and it just, it didn't feel very good, and so that was kind of, the main reason I built this was basically for my personal use, and then I wanted to share it with everybody else to fix that workflow. And that's basically one of 2 workflows that we look at, and so you've got basically the people who are self-signing, and then you also have people who are sending documents to get others to sign. So those we call them sign requests, and so they're those are basically our 2 types of users, and then I guess within that. We have a ton of features as well. So if you're self-signing, you can also like annotate, you can change pages. You can merge documents. If you go onto some of these other competitor sites, they list out all the features that they do, as if each feature is its own application or something like that. And we actually have all those features just natively built into the, like if you want to reorder pages, that's not its own application. That's something that you can just do in the page manager on the left side of DocHub.
Chris, talk to us about the impact COVID has had. Martin Singh just said in the comments, he said, I'm having a lot of trouble signing documents for a remote sales position. So many more people are remote today. Are you seeing more revenue because of COVID in the business?
Yeah. So, when COVID came around, I guess we were, happened to be, you can look at that orange line there. So everything kind of doubled. Our traffic doubled. Our revenue has gone up quite a bit. And some of that's, I guess some of it's, just the way that we've been doing it every year. We've had a steady, I'd say like 30 plus, 30 or 50% even growth rate before that. But then, COVID's kind of spiked us to the moon for the moment. We'll see what happens going forward. But, I think the trend's going to continue.
Yep. I want to get our buyers on here in the next 2 minutes. I just want to touch on these other things. So sign documents, edit and sign PDFs, create templates and PDF forms, and then Google and Dropbox integrations are built up as well. Those are sort of the 4 critical things. And you've got 2 types of pricing plans. Walk us through the difference between the 2 of these guys.
I mean, the free, I guess it's a freemium model. But our free version, for the most part, you can go on and you can sign. The biggest paywall is going to be just, signing 5 documents every, in any given 30-day period. So most people, if they're just doing their day-to-day life, they should be able to actually use DocHub for free. And the reason that is basically printing and signing is a little bit of a nuisance, but we don't think, if it's just for 1 document, you're not going to sign up for a subscription service just to sign 1 document. So if anyone's just using it lightly, they should be able to use a free version without even hitting a paywall. If you're buying a house, you probably have 4 documents you need to sign, and so even for something like that, you could probably get away with the free plan.
And how much testing have you done, Chris, with pricing, if any?
In I think 2016 we launched our paywall, and we've been doing a lot of other stuff since then. So we actually haven't touched our paywall since then. We haven't really done any testing with it. We basically what we're trying to do is just make a great product. We've been the last couple of years we've done stuff, like focusing on security, focusing on scalability. Is that a live? The live.
No, I messed that up. I wanted to get the audience to guess because you have such a strong SEO play here. It's incredible what you've done in terms of web traffic. I mean, there's no testing done on pricing. You've sort of stumbled into an amount of revenue, which is really compelling. Guys, I'm just curious. You guys can look up audience-wise. I'm curious, how many people do you think are on DocHub right now, actively on the platform using it? Type your number, guesses in the comments right now. We'll come back to that in a second. But Chris, talk to me again. We're going to meet the buyers here in about a minute. Tell me real quick, touch on SEO. What do you do on SEO? How do you get so much traffic?
Basically all of our traffic's organic. We haven't paid for any ads. We did that with our previous iPhone apps and stuff. And I have at this point, can't wish. I feel like making ads is kind of a burden that I wouldn't wish on anyone, because no one wants to look at your ads or whatever. We like to build stuff here. So our SEO, there's organic SEO. So if you go into Google and you type in like signed PDF, we'll be in the top. I think we're right now about number 4 of the organic results. And then also we integrate really well with Google. So if you go into the G Suite, the G Suite marketplace, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And you search for like signed PDF, you'll see all the different applications out there. And I think people kind of like us the most there.
So high ranking on the SEO side, also super high ranking in the actual app exchanges, which is critical. The number of reviews and the users you've got in the G Suite app exchange will show here in a bit after we bring the buyers on. You guys in the audience, though, Victor on Facebook guessing 20,000. We had a roll from Twitter and Periscope guessing 3,000 live right now. Guys, check this out. This is a live shot literally right now of Doc Hub. We've got, how many is this, Chris? Boom. Let's bring it up. Come on. Come on. Add to screen. How many people are live right now? 10,637. Incredible.
Yeah. So we actually just finally this week broke the 10,000 mark, and I think earlier today we actually had I think 12,500 or so. So that said, yeah, we've proven scalability. I think right now they're mostly U.S. traffic too. If you go by location, hit the location button there too.
Yeah.
I guess Alexa.com is ranking us in the top 900 sites today. But I think we get some seasonality, and this will now put us up even higher. So I guess people know us. The point when I realized that we had this company had gotten pretty big was when my sister was sitting there in her high school. And they pull up Doc Hub on the projector, and she's texting me, being like, "Why the hell am I looking at like your webpage, in my school?" So that was,
I'm trying to escape you. Now I see your product every day. Get me out of here. All right, we're 18 minutes in here, Chris. I don't want to put off any longer. I want to bring the buyers on. We're gonna have the buyers and ask you questions about the P&L, the unit economics. Then we're gonna bring on experts. We have some great experts, and then the buyers will come back on and say, "Listen, I'm in, and I'm gonna offer this amount of money, or I'm out, and here's why I'm not interested." So let's go ahead and kick off. Let's meet some of these. Buyers here. Let's first bring on Tim Schumacher with SAS Group. Tim, welcome to Deal or Bust.
Hey there. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
So, Tim, jump in and tell us about SAS Group. What kinds of SaaS companies are you looking to acquire?
So we look for low-touch SaaS companies, meaning sign-up plans. The one like Doc Hub offers, anything between $1 million and like 10 million in revenue is great. So Doc Hub is right in our alley.
That's perfect. All right, guys, we'll see what happens with Tim. Let's bring on Preston Tucker. Preston coming on from EMT Ventures. Preston, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am well. Okay, so what kinds of deals are you looking for?
Yeah, B2B SaaS companies, anywhere 100K, 2 million in annual recurring revenue. And there's it's not a hard range, it's a soft range to an extent.
So can you stretch? Obviously, Chris is bigger than that. What's your capital source? Do you have the ability to raise more capital or have more capital in the fund to do a deal this size?
Yeah, definitely on the fence there. Kind of depends, again, where we maybe fall on the table, depending on what he's looking for and what I think is fair once we get into it.
All right, very good. Let's bring on Raj Sheath. Raj, welcome to Deal or Bust.
Thank you. How are you?
I am well. You're a first timer, so educate us real quick. What is Decalab, and how did you buy this flydata.com company, which had raised, I think, 10 million in equity?
So Flydata is a first. I'm a new buyer. I built RecruiterBox previously, very similar size to Doc Hub. When we sold it was almost 5 million ARR. And Flydata was a company almost $1 million in revenue. And we're basically putting together a collection of B2B SaaS between 1 million and 10 million. We have a pool of capital to finance these companies as well. So
what's your initial take on Doc Hub? Interesting company, or you're not interested?
Yeah, I actually know a couple of companies in this space, and it's just amazing what they've done. I have a bunch of questions, but definitely interested.
All right.
Curious to know why he's selling.
Okay, good question. We'll get to that in a second. Last buyer here we want to bring on is Fred, who founded Luna Robotics, exited that in 2013, got in the hotel space, love recurring revenue, now doing SaaS deals. Fred, welcome to Deal or Bust.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so tell us real quick, what sorts of SaaS companies are you looking to buy, and where are you getting your capital from? Did you raise a big fund, or it's LPs, or what?
Yeah, so since my exit, we've been doing sub-institutional and institutional real estate deals, mainly in New York and a few in Los Angeles. We've done about 1.2 billion in transactions. I think we've raised something north of 350 million in equity. And about 2 years ago, I was underwriting a lot of industrial real estate, which correlates very strongly to e-commerce, and that kind of led me to e-commerce facing SaaS businesses. And what I'm really interested in is a strong platform company that we could pick up with a great team and then add pieces to it. My main interest is in one form or another facing e-commerce, which this potentially could do that. I mean, we do we use a lot of services like this in real estate. So yeah, this is definitely interesting.
Welcome in, guys. So guys, Chris, you've just sort of met, we've got 4 buyers here. We'll see what happens. Those of you just watching, you're watching Deal or Bust. We've got Chris Devor on with DocHub, built a great company. And here are the metrics. Before we take buyer questions, here are the metrics from August. They started August, so about a month and a half ago, with $387,000 in revenue. They drove 3,200 in upgrades, 3,400 reactivations, and $40,000 in new monthly recurring revenue in 1 month, 40,000 new revenue. So total MRR in August of 2020, again, about a month and a half ago, is $412,000 as they continue to scale. Tim, let's go to you first. What question do you have for Chris? Is Tim muted?
Oh, yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. So I'd like to understand the product a little better. Like, I think numbers look great. I'll have some financial questions later, but how are you product-wise? How are you defending yourself against like Google and Adobe and all the big guys who have platforms, or now Box and Dropbox kind of going into your turf?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the like Dropbox and Google, they're doing different stuff. But, you know, the people who are in our space, I think there's basically, I guess, 2 key things that differentiate us from everybody else. We have more features, and the stuff works better. And actually, I guess it's cheaper too. So, you know, I guess that's you know, my humble opinion on it. And but yeah, that's kind of it. And actually, with the revenue slide there too, I think those numbers that Nathan has are actually they're MRR calculated by you know, one of our integrations, but are actually our revenue numbers. We have 12-month subscriptions, so our actual revenue numbers in each of the past 4 months, we've exceeded $500,000 in gross revenue.
Yeah, and guys, just to be clear, in all the financials that I was showing, that's not on a cash basis. Okay, that is not, if they had an annual plan today, I was dividing by 12, so recurring revenue 415-ish. But what Chris is saying is, on a cash basis, they've broken $500,000 because they have a lot of annual subscriptions up front.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, if you wouldn't sell the business, what would be like your main 3 growth initiatives?
Yeah, so you know, if we're not going to sell, I guess the things that we're working on right now, we do have a decent amount of academic users, and right now we actually don't have an academic plan really. We kind of do, but it's buried, and you know, it's not very much. So one of the things that in our immediate future we want to do is put in an academic plan. And then, you know, along those lines, we do want to do a little bit of paywall optimization at some point. But then, you know, that, you know, we're not going to do too much with that. I do like, you know, just having the cheapest product out there that does a ton of stuff, because it's hard to compete against us.
That's true.
Yeah. And then, you know, the other growth stuff, compliance is a big one. So to sign on bigger companies, right now we're mostly B2C, even though we're actually more of a B2B product. But to get, you know, bigger businesses to sign on, you know, they're going to want they like to talk to people on the phone. They like to have like contracts signed, that kind of stuff. And then they've got compliance stuff. So we've actually done a ton of, with regards to compliance and just like.
Are you GDPR compliant?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I guess.
So yeah. GDPR, CCPA, kind of similar framework, but have you done the whole kind of compliance spiel there? Or?
Yeah, we've gone through it, and I think right now, we're a very small development team. So I think technically, like, I'm actually our data protection officer, and I actually do spend most of my time actually working on security stuff. But yeah, I think we do qualify for GDPR. We do a ton of stuff with regards to security, so.
Chris, I'll say so much so you actually do put it in. This is an engineering P&L. You can see the line item for the bug bounty program and security. So that's budgeted. It's budgeted in here.
Yeah. So
very good.
As far as like the different security things go, I would say we basically worked our way through the list. For most of these things, in terms of, like, some of it's also just like rotating passwords every 90 days. So like technically, if you're not rotating if you're rotating your password, every 100 days, you may not be GDPR, one of these other compliance things. And so, we're working our way towards, being compliant with basically all of these things. And it's probably all going to come out, more at once when we do reach that point where we finally are going out and publicly saying we're complying with all of them. But I think we're pretty close at this point.
Cool. Raj, let's jump over to you. Good questions from Tim. What questions, Raj, do you have for Chris?
Yeah. How long have you been number 4 on Google organic search? How long roughly? Do you remember when you?
Yeah, I mean, years. Like, I don't know, since 2015. Oh. I think we actually. Okay. I think it's gone down actually by 1, but yeah. I mean, yeah. We haven't really optimized that much lately for search. Either. There's a lot more we can do there. Yeah, I mean, with our iPhone apps that we were developing before, we did a ton of stuff that worked really well. At one point, you could search for iPhone Mac or iPhone PC, and you would actually get our product. If you search for the word adapter, I think we're like number 3 still, and we haven't touched our product.
Chris, just to be be clear though, that this is sort of touching macro plans.
The other business, yeah.
It's very different business.
Yeah, that's a different business. I guess my point being, we. Even though we're number 4, we can do better. We just we have other stuff on our plate.
Yeah.
Sure. And does the product work well on mobile right now?
Yes. Yeah. So it'll work on mobile. We built it with a response. The whole web page is responsive, so it's going to be the whole same thing. In your browser. That you can do on mobile. I actually left my cell phone on the roof of my car this morning driving into the office. It's been that long since I've been in the car with the quarantine thing, so I actually can't pull it up for you today. But we did manage to track it down using the Find My. But
Chris,
yeah.
Do you know how many contracts on DocHub last month were signed via a mobile device?
The mobile users are much smaller. I'd say probably like 2%, 3%. Of traffic is mobile. So it's mostly people who are just opening in their like Gmail or their Google Drive, and they want to just open a document and then sign it.
Chris, referencing though the slide we have up right now, right? 730,000 documents created in a day, October,
yep.
Right? 2020. So first off, October is that 8/10 or 10/8? October.
That was like yesterday or something. Sorry,
okay, I put that. That was probably me. I put the data wrong.
Yeah, so that was my fault. Yeah.
730,000 documents created in a day. How many of those were done on a mobile device?
Probably like 2%. And as far as what we're concerned, for mobile, basically what we want people to do is if they need to sign something, and they're if someone sends you a sign request, that's kind of what we're prioritizing. So if I want to get somebody else to sign a document, they're going to click a link, they're going to be able to open on the phone, and they're going to be able to sign it really easily. If you're going to try to manage a template and make multiple copies and send that out to other people, you can do it. And, I have done stuff like that, through our mobile app. But, it's just easier to do on a desktop.
Yeah. Let's go over to
the team. Yeah.
Go ahead, Raj. Last question on team.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say your team is 6 people. Is that 6 people on LinkedIn? Or?
Yeah, we have a pretty small team. Yeah. We have a new employee who's coming on in a couple weeks. He's actually in the office here with me today. So we're increasing our size by leaps and bounds. Actually, we have two employees coming on this month. One's actually returning after a few years.
Chris Raj, just to quantify that, so you spent about $575,000 last year on payroll. That includes on top of that a $500,000 payout. That's to yourself, right? Profit.
Yeah. So actually, I think so. The 2019 numbers, as I said before, we basically split DocHub off of another company, and we've actually been polishing up we've split off our accounting in the last couple of weeks to have actually Bench.co, redo the financials just to make sure, like, we basically did what we needed to do for the IRS, but for actually stuff that investors want to look at, we need to have everything nice and cleanly split. So I think I actually got paid probably $900,000 in salary. How that splits on this thing exactly, I would say that's about right. With our payroll there, plus or minus a couple $100,000. But it is what it is. This year the 2020 estimate is pretty close, and then the annualized trailing 4 months, I believe that actually has what I would expect to see for payroll going forward. So I'd expect to see, in the upcoming year, I'd expect to have about 1.3 million in payroll, and that would include, I think that 1.3 million probably would include, I think like 300,000 or 400,000 for me.
Right.
So.
Guys, good stuff. Guys, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Dealer Bust. We've got Chris coming on. He's a founder. He's built DocHub.com, incredible business. You just saw the revenue data. We've got questions from 2 buyers done. We're going to talk to 2 more here in a second, and then bring on great experts in the form of David Peterson from Airtable. We've got Andrew Gazdecki joining with MicroAcquire, and Andrew Warner with Mixergy. They're going to chime in here in a second. Preston, let's go to you. What questions do you have for Chris?
Yeah, just a little bit more on the payroll and the operations. So the 1.1 forecast for 2020. So that includes the 2 folks you're expecting to bring on.
So yeah,
in the next couple
2020.
months.
That's basically. You're only going to get those people for 2020 for the last 4 months of the year. But if you look at the next column over for the annualized trailing 12 months, that 1.3 million. Basically take me out of the picture, and it's going to cost $1 million a year in payroll to run this thing.
Perfect. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. Another question too. So, what is your free to pay conversion?
Yeah. So, we've. I think I would guess about 85% of the users on the site are free users, and 15% are probably paid users. Yeah, we don't push our paywall. I think if most of you guys go onto the site, and you
Chris,
try to
right.
find
just try and actually quantify this from a screenshot you sent me. It looks like can you paint a picture here? This 70,000 new trial number we're seeing here, and then trial to conversion rate of 68%. What's that mean?
Yeah, so there's most users go on. They don't ever sign up for DocHub. They don't ever have to pay anything, and we're fine with that. If you then do if you've got 6 documents to sign in a month, you can sign up for a free trial. Our free trial is 30 days. So, I'd say you start with 100% of people coming to the site. 15% of them go into our, maybe let's say 15%, maybe 20% go into our trial. And, if they start the trial, I think we have about a 70% conversion rate of people who actually will pay us, who don't cancel their trial and who continue to pay. And then, so.
Great. Fred, let's go to you. Last few questions here. Well, you're coming obviously from the hotel space. You get recurring revenue, though. What questions do you have for Chris?
Yeah, good afternoon, Chris. Thank you for sharing all this with us. I mainly wanted to understand your team better. You kind of explained that this sort of $1.3 million going forward from here, being the payroll, that's inclusive of a salary you would expect to have, correct?
Yeah, so the 1.3, I think the 1.3 number probably puts me at a $300,000 or $400,000 year.
300,000. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that number aside, can you kind of walk me through your team? Who's there and who's doing what?
Yeah, so we've got 2 full-time developers. Other than, well, actually, let me start by saying 2. I do a lot of coding still, but we do have 2 other guys who are actually very good at coding as well on DocHub. So right now we have a core team writing code of me and 2 others. We have 2 support people, and they actually also do a little bit of work on our other business as well. And then we have, I guess we have another developer who is working exclusively on the other business. And I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. But yeah,
so Chris, just for clarity, let's just talk about what they would be getting if they purchase DocHub. So how many full-time engineers on DocHub?
So 2, and then myself, but then we also have 2 more who are coming on in a couple weeks.
And anyone else?
What's that?
Go ahead. Fred.
Well, yeah. So you have 2 full-time developers plus yourself. You're writing some code. You have 2 support staff. You're hiring 2 more people. These folks are what, developers?
Yeah, full stack developers. They're senior people. So basically, what we're doing going forward in terms of developers is we just want very talented people, and we're going to pay them what they need to make it happen.
Sure. But suppose if you sold this business tomorrow, who's coming over with the business?
Yeah, I mean, they I think everybody has a little bit of equity stake in it, and they would all be happy. We've discussed this, and they'd all be happy to go with it.
Okay.
And then kind of excited.
What does that actually mean? Would they stay on for a year at full-time salary and help transition, or what does it actually mean stay on?
I mean, I suppose as long as there's a reason for them to stay on the, I don't think anyone's gonna. I don't think they're here for me, and as long as the opportunity, they're not working for some guy who's, driving them insane. Yeah, I mean, I think they like what they're doing. I mean, the people who are here too, their average tenure is like 3 to 10 years. So they've been here and they'll stick around. And the one of the new guys who's, he's coming back, and I've been working with him since 2011. And then the other new guy, he's so excited to start. He's here 2 weeks early today. So
I love that. Well, guys, again, you just heard from buyers. Fred, you want to sneak in one last question?
Yeah, I just wanted to understand. So does that mean there is nobody working on marketing or customer acquisition or? Yeah,
no. That's I guess the way that I kind of see things is you have to build it in the right order. And maybe once we've perfected the product, we'll do some marketing or customer acquisition stuff. But.
Okay. And one last question. What about yourself? What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, are you coming over with this?
Yeah, I mean, whatever, we'll see what the offers are. I'm happy to do anything. I'm happy to, if you want me to come over, I mean, I basically, I feel like I'm expensive. Every year that I've touched a business for the last 10 years, we've grown it by $1 million a year. And I could definitely use a vacation as well. So I wouldn't mind taking a few months off, but then.
But vacation aside, I want to understand what is more important to you. Do you want to build something much bigger than this, or do you want to just take some money off the table and go relax for a year?
So I think I could relax for about 3 months or so, and then I'd probably drive my wife crazy.
I'd say max 1 month. She'll kick you out of the house.
Yeah, she's actually told me that I'm not allowed to quit and retire. But yeah, that aside, I like just looking at like what DocHub can grow to and the potential. I mean, DocuSign, I guess now they're valued. They were valued at $50 billion last week, but now I think it's $37 billion. And we do a lot of things better than they do. And if we can just the 1% of whatever their valuation is, that'd be cool. And I don't see why we can't grow from there and turn this thing into a $1 billion company. I'd be happy to be part of that. And but there's a lot of way to go to get there. So that's one thing.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Jumping in, so what's going to happen now? Those of you just joining in, you're watching Deal or Bust. The buyers just asked questions. We've gone through the P&L, we've gone through economics, we've gone through team. So any of the buyers right now could drop out if they're not interested. They're busy people, they want to save time. But if they are interested, they're going to have time now to be removed from the stream while we bring our experts in and think about what deal they might offer. Buyers, you also in your email inboxes have the full decks. So if you don't have all those screenshots from the live, you have that to analyze for about 5 to 10 minutes here when we bring the experts on. But first, I'm going to check in with each of you, make sure you're still interested. Raj, are you dropping out or you want more?
I want more. I'm good.
All right, Raj is sticking around. Take your break, Raj. Think about it. Tim, are you interested or are you dropping out?
I'm definitely
Okay,
interested.
good. Tim's going to take some time. Fred, are you interested or dropping out?
I'm definitely interested.
All right, there we go. And Preston, you in or out?
I'm going to drop out. Love the company, but a little bit larger than.
Hey, thanks for being Preston. Thanks for being honest there, man. Appreciate you coming on. Chris, I mean, those are 4 very quick. I'm interested. Where's your head at right now?
Cool. Yeah. I mean, let's see where this goes.
Very cool. Well, guys, now it's going to get fun because we're going to bring on some guys that have done this a lot. They're in the weeds. They're building companies. They've sold companies. We're going to first, just order-wise, we'll do Andrew Warner first. We'll do David Peterson second, and then wrap up with the other Andrew. We're going to Andrew sandwich Andrew Gazdecki on the end with Micro Acquire. We'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes with these experts, bring the buyers back on. For those of you joining live, what to expect is the buyers will come back on. We'll see if they can get an offer done here live. But guys, what's your guys' take in the audience right now? Steve saying this is a great opportunity. It'll be interesting. Chris, did you see any comments that made you giggle or laugh or were interesting?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few actually. I got to scroll down here, but yeah, I guess I like what I'm seeing. I don't even know where to begin.
That's great. Well, guys, the show's about to again heat up with these experts and potential offers. I encourage you guys to get your friends in here right now. If you're on Twitter, reshare the Periscope feed. If you're watching on LinkedIn, reshare this live feed right now. Root Chris on. Hope you get a great offer. And if you're on Facebook, do the same. Leave a comment, reshare with your friends. Things are about to heat up. Let's bring on Andrew Warner, who knows a little bit about heat. He brings the heat on Mixergy. Andrew, welcome to Deal or Bust.
Good to be here. You know what? I thought I knew about Heat, but people are taunting me in the chat saying that you're much more aggressive about finding out founders' numbers, and I'm too nice.
No, but you get so much more detail because you have longer with them and you ask such pointed questions. And you were one of the first shows I listened to back in my college dorm room. What do you think about Chris? Look at this business.
So I've been playing with the software while we're talking. It is amazing. I can't believe how much you're giving away for free, Chris. What the hell? And then I looked you up. Are you the guy who created iExplorer, the thing that connects phones to computers?
Yeah,
you are.
And I've done a couple of things, yeah.
Dude, that software is amazing. It allowed me to do stuff on my iPad that Apple didn't want me to do. Are you still managing that?
Yeah. So yeah, back in 2014, basically like everything's kind of sinking more into the cloud these days with your iPhone, and we were just kind of concerned about the trends of all that, and we wanted to make sure that the thing that we were working on next was going to be able to grow forever, and I think we kind of found that with DocHub. But yeah, iExplorer was great, and it still is great.
Are you spending 100% of your time now with DocHub and ignoring the other parts of your business, macro plan? It is. It's just 100% DocHub.
Yep. So absolutely. So since 2014, we actually grew iExplorer's revenue up to $5.5 million a year, and that was in 2014. And then basically since then, iExplorer's been going down and DocHub's been going up. So we've actually, between the two companies, we've been about flat up until this year, and now we're actually going to finally get out. We're trying to at this point. iExplorer's it's going to has a little place in the world, but we're focused 100% on DocHub, with the exception of one developer, and now we're finally going to take off from there and go higher.
Good move. So I talked to one of your competitors at EasySign. Aren't they doing 10 million now? Also bootstrapped to this point? They're roughly there.
It seems like there's a lot of companies doing a lot more revenue than we are in this space.
Because you're prioritizing growth right now, getting more free users. You are.
Yep.
Okay, and then one thing. No, go ahead.
One of the things I've seen some of the competitors do is you go to sign your document, and then when you go to print it or save it to your system, they throw the paywall in your face and basically like ransom your last hour of work. So if we wanted money, we could get it. But we just I guess we want to grow as much as we can, and also be a good person.
That's what I'm sensing as I'm watching your software and talking to your users here in the chat. The other thing that I was wondering is mobile app. When I look you up in the mobile app store, you're not there. Any interest in that, considering how strong you are with iExplorer?
Yeah, so the site's built, with I guess Ember is the front end. That's the same platform that LinkedIn is built on it. And the whole, I guess Ember aside, the whole site's responsive. So if you use your phone, you're going to be able to do just about as much as you'd be able to do with a mobile app. And in terms of what we kind of learned from iExplorer 2, and maybe one of the reasons we got away from it is we were building that on Windows and on PC. And when you have multiple development platforms and coding bases for the same program, it's just a nightmare in terms of management. So what we want to do with DocHub is just stick to one code base for everything. And right now we're doing pretty good with mobile. To get in the App Store, we could do that as well. We can take our current site and we can wrap it in Ember Electron, which is we actually had a desktop thing that we had in development for a while. But the responsive site, if you save DocHub on your iPhone, you can actually get a little icon that'll look just like an app for you. So.
I noticed that. And as I was testing it out to see, is there anything that sucks on iOS, on mobile, everything was working really well. I feel like,
Good here.
Yeah, and I keep looking for mistakes. I feel like you've got a strong business here. I don't know that the guys who are on the call are going to be able to value you well enough, considering that they're not going to see the profit that you could have if you decided to even put a little effort into charging us a reasonable price. You're way undercharging. What is it?
Speaking my language here. This is why.
And I don't feel like you're looking to sell to them. I don't feel like, I think what you're trying to do is get a sense that you're doing well, and damn, you're doing well. And you're not going to get enough of valuation from people who are on this call to justify continuing with them. But you are going to get a whole bunch of people who are listening to you saying, this is an amazing software. Why didn't I use this before?
Yeah. I mean, the main reason I think we're doing this is just, in the past 3 months, we've had so many people reaching out just because there's been, so much M&A activity or just financial activity, in this space and, recently, and just I want to kind of wrap this all up and see if we do something. If we do a deal, we do a deal. Otherwise, we're happy to keep growing. I mean, basically, I've set September 30th as my deadline for figuring out what we're going to do if we're going to grow with somebody else or if we're going to grow internally.
Meaning raise money or sell to someone else?
Raise money, sell to somebody else, any of that kind of stuff. We've had everybody reaching out to us, and it's kind of what you're saying too. They're all looking once you have revenue, that's all people look at, and it doesn't matter how much you tell them that my mousetrap is better than the other guy's mousetrap. They don't have the time to look at that, and so that's one of the things where it's just hopefully somebody will see that. But yeah, I mean valuing just us just off of revenue or subscription, user retention or any of that kind of stuff, misses a huge chunk of it.
I mean, Andrew, don't you get excited? I mean, for me as a marketing guy, looking at 70,000 paid subscribers, a $1 ARPU increase in the base is another $70,000 or $840,000 in ARR, a $1 increase. So I just get excited about the cross-selling and the pricing testing.
Steve in the chat is saying, I think valuation could be 40 million based on you're way off, Steve. I think you're nice. You're way off. It's more than that based on what I've seen competitors do.
I love this comment.
I don't want to give.
I'm leaving DocuSign immediately and going to DocHub yesterday. Right.
Andrew, what are you able to share? Or is that a private conversation you had with someone else?
Private conversation with a competitor, definitely higher valuation than than the 40 million. Steve, I think, is just throwing out a number to get things started and to give us something to push against. But I'd say it's at least 40% more than that from what I'm seeing. I'm actually talking to a competitor right now as we're talking to get more insight, to get a sense of where you are. You're definitely going to be higher than that. And I can understand why Preston Tucker, that's who it was, who dropped out. Yeah.
Yep. Preston. And I appreciate it. I mean, I try and make sure we bring sort of buyers on that are in the right ranges. There's always a negotiation that happens live. Some people buy small, some buy big, some buy, flat and distressed assets, but you've got a great asset here, Chris. Andrew, as always, man, you bring the freaking hammer. Where can people, obviously, they know where to find you, but double down. Where can people find you online?
I hate that they have to find me online. I used to say, come see me at my office at 201 Mission for Scotch. You got to look for me online. Just Google my name, Andrew Warner. You'll see me somewhere, and at some point, I'll see you in person.
Andrew Warner predicting no deal here because the valuation will be too high and things no one will pay that right now because he's making a bunch of money. Andrew, we'll see if you're right.
I think I'm also going to say that the reason that the others are on is because they're just amazed by this business, and you want to get a sense of. I think it's just fandom and being impressed, and maybe they're thinking that they could make an investment. I'm guessing that Fred's excited enough that he would want to make an investment. I don't think that they're the right people to buy the company at this, considering how you're doing, but it's impressive. All right, I'll let other people.
Andrew Warner, appreciate that. Let's bring on David Peterson, who's driving business development at Airtable right now. Airtable, David, also has hundreds of thousands, tens and tens of thousands of customers. I bet you think about ARPU increases all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my background at Airtable is in bottoms-up growth, marketing, product partnerships, product-led growth. So yeah, Nathan, like you were saying before, seeing these numbers, but knowing that there isn't that much marketing behind it, it's just like incredibly exciting. So excited to dig in, Chris. You've built something really cool here.
Cool.
So David, what do you think his biggest opportunity is?
Yeah, there's two things that I wanted to discuss. First is around use case or industry expansion. Second is around pricing experimentation. Sounds like pricing experimentation is top of mind, so we'll get to that, but I'll leave that for second. The first thing is, a dynamic that we see at Airtable. And Chris, I'm not sure if you've used Airtable before, if you've played around with it.
I've definitely heard of it, and I wanted to actually look up your site, but I'm afraid to go out of this window here. So.
No, yeah, we can go there another time. We don't need to talk about Airtable, but yeah.
I just have to say, I mean, part of how I built the podcast so big and we do so much with so few people is Airtable is basically our database. So Chris is a developer. He much prefers the hyper intense engineering driven databases.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I bring it up is because, I think Airtable and DocHub have some similarities in that people from every industry can use the tool, right? Like you can be using it for a ton of different things across every single industry. So early on, we spent a lot of time thinking about, identifying use cases and then experimenting with full stack go-to-market strategies across different industries and across different use cases. So my question for you is, what's the breakdown of paying users by industry and use case? Do you have any sense right now?
Yeah. So one thing, that I want people to realize too is we have a bunch of academic users who, I would say they're as far as financially goes, they're definitely paying us less than the other guys. But our timetable is also a 5 to 10. If you look at it from 5 to 10 year outlook, and everybody's using DocHub today in their school, like they're going to be using it in 5 or 10 years. When they're out of college and they're paying. But yeah, so let's say half of the traffic that you're seeing, and not necessarily like paying customers, I'd say half the traffic's got to be academic users. Like kids come on and do their homework.
Gotcha. When you say academic, you're saying students, or is this administrators or professors?
Both. Okay. But yeah, there's plenty of students who come on and they do their homework on it. But let's take those people aside, and we still actually have tremendous numbers, in traffic and everything else. And then, everybody else it's just, from every industry. And, I'd love to see more from the real estate industry. Just because I kind of understand that business. I bought a house and I had to sign some papers. I started looking earlier this month at big businesses, and I pulled out all the domains for Fortune 500 companies, and we've had 39,000 users from Fortune 500 companies come to our site.
Oh wow!
I think 8,700 users from Costco. That's the biggest one.
Wow.
And they're just, most of them are just coming on and they're just signing like a document. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're signing a document. Maybe they're not doing anything with it, but they're there in our database. And then some are more active. But I'd be curious to see, if you have 8,700 people from Costco, like we could probably get some kind of business agreement. And I know that some other companies in this space are able to get, a million plus out of a single company, just per year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my thinking is try to identify what are some of the core industries that are currently using the product. I mean, you saw such huge growth in October. I mean, how many new industries just like came into the product at that point? How many new use cases are out there? Try to identify what those are and build personas around a few of those. And I think you could,
Yeah, one other thing that I actually forgot to mention earlier in terms of, our growth direction. So, the compliance and boring stuff aside, what I've heard in this space will basically like double your sales is building out a public API, and we've gotten a bunch of requests for that.
That's interesting.
But yeah, if like for I saw this personally the last time I signed up for a gym. It's like you sign up for this gym, and they send you like a document to sign through the platform. It's kind of personalized to their site, but that type of thing.
Yeah. That's a good. I love that, and I think you could even use the intel that you get from your existing user base to drive some of those decisions that you make. You're seeing a lot of real estate folks already using it. Like maybe there are some real estate based integrations you can build, and that'll just like kick that flywheel off even more. So something we did early on at Airtable is literally just talk to as many users as we could. We just did live onboarding, for as many folks as we could for a few weeks. So we just said, we're going to stop everything else and just talk to users for a few weeks, learn what they're actually doing. I think that there's some value there. The other thing I wanted to mention was pricing experimentation. Also something we're thinking about a ton right now. I saw a comment on YouTube, I think it was, that the pricing is amazing in comparison to DocuSign. I mean, clearly you can increase the prices, right? Like I think you know that you can increase the prices. That's the obvious idea. But the way that I'm thinking about this is like, how do we come up with ideas for pricing experimentation that isn't just throw up a paywall at random spots in the product? So my question for you is, what does an activated user look like? When do you know that somebody has they're going to start paying you moving forward? Is it a frequency of usage, specific features that they've used, something else?
So Chris, let me jump in real quick. David, let's end on that open loop as a question. We'll circle back to it when the buyers come back on. David, if people want to learn more from you online, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, just at @eDavidPeterson. Look me up.
There you guys have it. David Peterson from Airtable. Thanks. All right. Second part of the Andrew Samrich. Andrew Gazdecki from MicroAcquire. Welcome to Dealer Bus, man.
What's up, Chris? My God.
Dude, Andrew, what a company, right?
So, Chris, I got to say, in my last company, I actually signed my asset purchase agreement with DocHub. I have 5 accounts. Yeah, dude, you made me a bunch of money. So,
Andrew, how much have this video and just post it on our site? What more people are gonna know?
Chris, I'm looking at your numbers, and I don't even feel comfortable saying this, but I feel like you're too profitable. Have you ever thought about what if you just took all your profits and just reinvested it into growth for 12 months? Have you ever thought why are you so profitable?
So over the last I guess that's just how I do things. It makes life easier. I guess in one of these other companies, they asked me, what we were budgeting for this upcoming year, and I actually have never really used that word before. Over the last 10 years between both businesses that I've run, we've done 40 million in gross revenue and about 18 million in profit, and I've probably gotten paid on top of the 18 million, a $4 million salary over that period. That's just I guess how I've done things historically. But yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier on everybody when you don't have to worry about getting laid off and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So, how much cash do you have on hand, if I can ask? Do you have a couple million in reserves or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, so we're actually structured as a LLC S corp pass-through entity. So basically, at the end of the year, all the cash technically gets paid out to me. I own 100% of the business currently. So I'm basically free to move money, between my bank and DocHub's bank. Currently, things stand. And every time, I like to invest in stuff. I've actually bought a decent amount of Tesla stock, which has been interesting in the last few days. So in terms of cash between me and the business, we have enough. Let's just say.
Yeah, very good. All right, I'll just give my advice pretty straightforward. I agree with what Andrew said. I agree with what David said. I think anyone who looks to purchase your company is going to raise pricing, and I think that's something that's an obvious growth opportunity for you. So I would absolutely explore that first, and you can test it. You can test it with 10% of your customers first.
We're getting there.
One more thing too. this probably isn't like popular to say, but hire a sales team, dude. Like, talk to your customers. You'll create this incredible like feedback loop. You'll probably close like bigger end customer capital, put it into growth, and then see what you can do for 12 months. You're in such a big market, and you have a great product. Like, I'm super, super impressed.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, with the sales team, it's just, we need to build up our developers, I think, a little bit more first before we get more issues brought in, from the sales team. But we're getting there, and I think in the next 2 years.
Hire a VP of sales as soon as possible. Please do.
Yeah.
I promise. Yeah, I was gonna say, Chris, I've known you for a while. You've been building very loyal developers who are very talented for like almost a decade now.
Yeah. Yeah.
One guy like me with the wacky come over who's too loud in the corner office that all your developers complain about, so you have to buy a telephone booth for the office just for him. Just one. Andrew,
we'll get there.
Andrew, where can people learn more about you, man?
MikeRequire.com. You can follow me on Twitter. And Chris, good luck, man. You could sell this company with a single tweet. You've built something amazing. So good luck to you, bud.
All right, Andrew, thanks for coming on. Chris, where's your head at, man? Good advice there from both Andrews and David.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting, it's nice to get some positive feedback. A lot of times in the past, when people are looking to acquire a company, they like to try to bring it down a notch. To lower the price they'd have to pay for it. So, having these people come on who are actually not looking to buy it, it's actually kind of nice because they're giving me, I feel like a more objective look. And that's
kind of good. Well, and we're a little over on time, but this is just such a great company. I want to get the buyers back on here as quick as we can. But guys, all of you watching, I see LA in the comments, Yarrow Baggerty, Cameron Blackwell, Josh Manders, you're putting great stuff there. If you guys are if you're rooting for Chris here, click the thumbs up, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. If we get 50 of you guys doing that, we'll be sure to put this deck up for you guys to study yourself as a bit of a business case study right after the show. So go ahead and do that now. Click the heart button, root Chris on, and it's that time, Chris. We got to bring the buyers back on. Let's get Tim back on the stream. Let's get Raj back, Fred back, and it was those three. Very good. So we've got Tim. You there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, very good. And Raj, Fred, you guys can hear us clearly?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Fred, let's go to you first, right? Any follow-up questions? We're going to spend about 5 minutes here on follow-up questions, and then it's offer time, right? So go ahead. Fred, you first. What follow-up questions do you have for Chris?
You keep mentioning the academics. Are there anything else you've identified specifically with regards to an API? I mean, you touched on this yourself already. Can other people incorporate what you've built and build something around it? And I think, I personally disagree that raising pricing is the first thing you should do. I think pricing should be left what it is. There are many other more valuable things to experiment with and build on, especially if you're bringing developers in. But can you talk about this API? Like, have you given it any thought? How would you envision it working? How would you price it?
Basically, when I talk about changing our pricing structure too, that doesn't just mean raising prices. It's basically like, we've seen, huge organizations come on board, or you're just, go through our free plan, and we have nothing to sell them because we don't have a pricing, option that would suit them really. But with regards to an API, so that we have a signing platform, and it does quite a bit. But if we could have, documents being sent out, just like legal contracts or whatever, from other people's servers, and reminders to sign the document, and stuff like that. You could even integrate, Stripe, and accept payments. So let's say you're a guy who's mowing lawns for a living, right? You want to get somebody, before you go to their house, you want to have them, or after you go to the house, whatever. You get them, you send them the contract, they sign it, and then they can also accept the payment, in the same platform, and then all that can be all automated back to your system. And
Fred, take us in your brain real quick. Why ask that question?
Just the notion of just, we're $5, everybody else is $10, let's raise the price. I see how tempting that is, but just this is such a great business. There's lots of free cash flow here, and there's lots of other things to build. I think I'm not saying don't raise the price, but I think that should be the last thing that you try. One of the first things I would try if I was here is I would try to see how I can get this incorporated to other people's workflows and companies. Because once they invest some time and effort and development time in it, then you're likely to have a very sticky customer. That leads to many other great things.
Yeah, and so in our development pipeline, it's been like security, compliance, and that's been like the last year, I guess. And then I think API comes after that, and with the API, you're going to get very sticky customers. That's what everybody's seeing with that.
Fred, are you thinking? I'm listening to the questions you're asking. Are you thinking you're going to make some sort of offer here? You're using words like "if I was growing this" or "you should do this." Are you looking to potentially offer and make it a piece of it, or buy it, or where's your head at?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how this would work for him and for me. But go ahead.
Let me say something about the API too. So one thing with the API, if you look at what,
hold on, I'm going to jump in, dude. I'm trying to help you create a lot of bidding action between three people. You have so much opportunities with product. You can
hold on. This is key. This is key. Okay, so just picture this. Okay, DocuSign is charging $4 per signed document through their API. Okay, so we could go in there and we could charge like 10 cents or 50 cents, any number, and we can easily cut into that market. And we've proven that we have the scalability to do it with what you've seen in Google Analytics today. The API potential I think is huge, and I think it's something that we can offer to pretty much any major business who needs stuff signed, and even eventually build in payments. You need a bigger development team to get there for some of those more advanced features. But yeah, there's a lot of potential.
All right, Chris, you've got Fred's wheels thinking. Raj, we're going to go to Raj and then Tim. Raj, where's your head at?
So I know this question was already asked, Chris, but I'm just going to ask it again because I think Fred and some others are making an assumption that you're going to stay in the business, you're growing the business. But I'm guessing that the whole reason you're putting a feeler out there and you want to sell is because you want to move on. So are you looking to stay in, or are you looking to move on?
So as far as
I know, I'm sorry, I know you're on the spot, we're on the spot, so I know it's like the polite thing to say that I'm not going to leave my baby, but aren't you wanting to sell this business outright and not raise some sort of growth or debt capital because you want to move on? Is that an accurate assumption?
So I'm happy to continue doing what we're doing. Let me just make that point clear. I think we've such potential ahead of us. We right now we're pacing at $6 million a year in gross revenue, and in a year or two we'll be at 10 million, and then valuations kind of go crazy around 10 million, so that's kind of exciting for me to stay on. If somebody today were to offer me a bunch of cash or something, I one thing is I definitely I've been bootstrapping for I guess 12 years. And I could use some time off to do my own thing, but I think building something up like DocHub, for me, I don't think it's something I'm gonna be able to do again in my lifetime. Though I guess I've got a couple popular products out there, but I think I'd like to be part of. I'd like to see DocHub become a $1 billion company one way or another. Working as not the owner of the business. I haven't been in those shoes, so I'm not sure how that dynamic would work exactly. And yeah, I'll leave it at that, I guess.
Well, thanks.
All right, Tim, let's go to you. Where's your head at?
I like the business. The more I hear about it, the more I like it. I like your way of thinking, Chris. You're the type of developer who's built something great. I like working with those people. AdBlock Plus was very similar. When Vladimir and I, my co-founder, met, he just had a fantastic product, but didn't charge anything. We now built a company worth hundreds of millions together. That is the type of thing I love doing. So really awesome what you've built there. Lots of things to do. One question: have you thought about internationalization? You've said that majority of the business in the US. You obviously live in the US. By the way, fact that you're in Boston is another big plus for me. My co-founder of SaaS Group, Ulrich Esmann, he lives in Boston, so you two should meet regardless of how this comes out. My first son was Boston. I lived there for many years, so lots of good memories. So that's a huge plus for me. Like, I know exactly where your office is. Just look it up on Google Maps, and so
technically,
there multiple times.
About Boston is it's very hard to find developers here.
Yeah, probably, but well, these days maybe remote is a thing, and that's something actually I could help as well. Kind of a semi-remote team. That's how we build a lot of teams. But now back to my question: internationalization. Your business is mainly a U.S. business at the moment. Is like, what are your thoughts on that? Like multi-language, local compliance, legal templates, legal compliance in multiple countries. Any attempts at that?
So yeah, you know, what we saw with iExplorer and just sort of the way that we've built things in the past. I think you know, it just going to like the internet, like we make enough money just domestically, and we can grow to the moon. You know, just doing you know, stuff just in English. The internationalization stuff, it basically kind of gets in the way of like just development in terms of like design. Like if you want to arrange something, you know, one way and then the word changes to 4 different languages, it just slows down the whole process. And so I think, you know, once we basically are at a point where you know, we're super happy with the design of DocHub, and you know, we don't think we're going to be, you know, changing too much, you know, design-wise, then yeah, we'd go in and you know, internationalize everything. It just, you know, it just from a development standpoint, it does slow stuff down. But it, you know, in the long run, absolutely, you know, I'd say that, you know, maybe 2 years we might be looking into that.
All right, Tim, good there? All right, great. So Chris, look, we're 12 minutes over here.
You need to.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just saying you're totally right with internationalization slowing down development if you don't do it right. You need to obviously just decouple all those processes from the internationalization, nationalization processes. That's actually something we've done many times. But I think that's a huge potential. And I agree with Fred that raising prices is always kind of the last resort. So I would not focus on that. You know, you've built a competitive edge by just undercutting everyone's prices, a great strategy. If anything, you know, you can charge higher prices on the enterprise side, and build up sales there, build up the API, all of that. But I wouldn't touch kind of the prices which have made you strong.
I mean, yeah, that's the plan. So you know, we're not looking to you know, extract money from the people who have a plan that it's working for them. It's just there's a lot of, you know, like one of the things we want to make is like a teacher plan. So we get these students, you know, and it's just like you know, like how, like you can't charge a student, like, you know, a student like a $5 a month plan.
Totally.
You need something that just is going to work for, you know, the classroom or whatever. And you know, there's just things like that. So.
All right, Chris, good stuff. These were the buyer questions, guys. We're about to get to the moment of truth. Buyers are going to state whether they're in and want to try and make an offer, negotiate live with Chris, or they're out, and for what reason. If you're just tuning in, you're watching another episode of Deal or Bust, where SaaS founders come to try and sell their companies live. If you want to add next week's episode to your calendar right now, go to nathanlatka.com/invite. That's nathanlatka.com/invite. Chris, 60 seconds or less, anything that no buyers, no experts asked about that you think is really important before they say whether they're in or out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got most of it.
All right, Fred, let's go to you first. It's deal time. Where's your head at? You going to make an offer here, or are you out?
I'm really trying to figure out how I can structure this that works for him and for me. You know, I asked a lot of questions trying to understand your motivations here. You know, I put myself in your shoes and I think to myself, you know, you have the resources to grow this. Maybe, you know, clearly you need some business discipline, you know, something on the sales and marketing side. There are plenty of ideas to try out, and I'm sure you know this business better than any of us, you know in just an hour of talking to you. So, you know, on the other hand, what I do for a living is, I buy well, right? So I make money when I buy, not when I sell. So I'm not going to pay to your potential. I'm going to pay for what it is, and what it is are the numbers that you're showing me, right? So like based on those numbers, I'm going to come in somewhere in, let's say, $10 million plus or minus. But what I'm interested to do, and if this is something that you're interested to do, what I'm interested in is a great team that wants to build something great. And what I bring to the table is, I've done the startup thing. By the way, Andrew Warner, I don't know if you're still here, but he interviewed me like 20 years ago at Robodynamics. Great to see you again, mate.
On back end.
Sorry?
No, we're good. Keep going, Fred.
Yeah. I've done that. And for the last 7 years, I've been doing these institutional size type real estate deals, and we really have a good understanding of what it takes like this, and really adding value and getting it to potentially $1 billion company. And that's what we do on the finance side, right?
Sure.
And I have
the offer here. If you had to sell, you're saying you'd value it at 10 million for what, 100%, 50%? What are you valuing it at?
That's what I would value 100% of it. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is that around some number like that, I'm willing to partner with you. I don't have to have 100% of it. So you can take some money off the table. You can take a few months off and go, get your head cleared, but come back and let's build something. And if that's something that's interesting to you, we should definitely talk.
All right, Chris, what's your reaction there?
Yeah, I mean, 10 million doesn't really do much for me. I mean, that's So I guess that's it's not going to change much. And as far as where we're at right now with DocHub, I think in 2 years we'll be at 10 million in revenue, with a 50% profit margin. And so I think that number is just a bit off. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get someone else who's invested in the business at some point. So, right now, it's been lonely at the top for 12 years. So, figure out something, where they can work with me and do the things that I'm not as good at. That would be great. But
Tim is quietly watching. We'll see if he pounces. Let's go to Raj first. Raj, where's your head at on this?
So I'll give you my thoughts quickly. My offer is going to be under 10, but obviously I'm out because I don't think you should take it. I think if you're truly emotionally done, then you're going to get a multiple of revenue. But if you can stay with it, then you're going to get the Andrew Warner kind of prices, right? So if you want to talk offline about a minority investment with you running it, then I would be interested, but I don't think I'll be able to match at what you're looking at.
Sure.
So mine will be at 2x of revenue. That's how I'm looking at it.
So Raj, just to be clear, you would offer 2x revenue, which would be something like 8.5 million, and you want to do a minority deal?
So sorry, the revenue number, we actually track our revenues on a cash flow basis. So the revenue numbers, just to be clear, in the last 4 months, we've broken $500,000 a year in gross revenue. So the revenue number that we should be looking at here should be about 6 million a year. We've grown substantially. So the MRR number, basically like the difference between the MRR and the revenue, just to be clear, is if somebody signs up for an annual plan, they give us they pay for the year upfront, and then basically like when you have the money, cash is king. And it just kind of makes it simpler with accounting as well, because what's in the bank. So that's kind of how I see revenue. But yeah.
So Rob, are you saying 2x of 6 million annually, or 2x of MRR run rate?
2x of 4.5 is what I was thinking.
Yeah. So Chris, that's sort of where Raj's head is at. Is he's saying, okay, he's looking at true MRR versus your point, which is we've collected more than $500,000 in cash every month because of annual upfronts. He's looking at 4.4 offering, 2x, so call it, $8 or $9 million bucks, looking for a minority sort of deal. You already said that's not really interesting or life-changing for you.
When you're looking at the MRR number, like if DocHub shut down today, we never took another subscriber. our MRR would continue to climb, until the end of the year here, because if people have already paid and they're already doing it. So I don't think MRR is the right word to value.
Sure. Chris, the final question there is, do you think 2020 has some portion of anomaly? I'm not saying there's any reason for the trend to go down, but I'm looking at 3.2 in 2019, and there are so many things that keep changing, right, in the funnel. So,
sorry, what could you repeat the question?
I get your point on the 6 million plus one, but I'm saying, do you think that there are some parts of 2020 that could be an anomaly, given that 2019 was 3.2 million?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's the coronavirus has obviously made a lot of people go online and sign stuff more online than in person. But I don't think I don't know if everything's going to one day go back the way it was before before the virus, and everyone's going to stop signing online. But before we had this jump of a substantial jump in, I guess, in around April, we were still growing at least 30% a year. So I think if everything goes back to normal, we'll still maintain a cash flow of probably around $500,000 in gross revenue every month. And that's kind of what I foresee. I kind of foresee stabilizing at the $6 million mark for the next about a year, and then growing from there. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about stuff going the other way.
I think it's a beautiful business. I just think from all of us financial buyers, you're not going to get the juice.
Yeah.
I think a strategic would probably put in more, right? Like you said that people buying the company are going to find faults in it. I actually see very, very few faults in it. And I would, if I were you, I wouldn't part for this price either, but it's more about a capacity thing. I can't do more than that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to consider like a minority investment or something, just to see what that price would come out to. Maybe even crowd fund or something, if we wanted to raise like $20 million and get all these ideas that we've been talking about to fruition. That would be something, and an idea that kind of had. But yeah.
So just before guys move on to Tim, we were very clear on Fred's sort of offer. He's valuing it at about $10 million. Wants to obviously do something there. Maybe it's like not 100%. Maybe it is. Raj, you're saying you do a minority investment. You're valuing the company at what?
Minority would be a little higher, I'm guessing, right, than an all-out take. So I'll have to think about that. It depends what Chris wants to do, because in minority, it'll be more like Chris's plan for the next 3 years. Right?
Sure.
Okay. Tim, let's go to you. Where's your head on the deal? You heard from Fred, you heard from Raj, you heard Chris's responses to both.
Yeah, I think there are kind of like two options, and I mean, option one is really, I'm thinking kind of similar to the other two. We're value buyers too. SaaS Group usually buys at 3 to 5x EBITDA, more for great businesses. This is certainly a great business. You've been growing 60% year over year. Sure, you profited a little bit from COVID, but hey, I'm with you. Like, people, once they've started signing documents online, they're not going back as like, oh, paper was so great. Now let's stack papers again. That's not going to go happen. Growth will slow, but people will be with you. So for that business, we can go a little above 5x EBITDA, but that's probably going to come down to like 20 or something. So it's definitely, we'd be considerably paying more than the other two. So about 20 million in cash, but at the same time, you're the type of guy we would love to work with, rather than just give you a bunch of cash. If you want cash now, you can take it. You put in a managing director and you just enjoy the dividends and you work it. But I think you said a very important point. You said something very important. You said it's been lonely the last 12 years. Sure. That sentence struck in my head. And I've seen that many times. And I think what you need is, you don't need money. You need a sparings partner to vet ideas, to work with you, to sometimes take you out of your comfort zone. Someone before has said, hey, why don't you use that cash? And I can totally understand why you don't. Like, I'm the same type of entrepreneur. I like kind of having a safety cushions. My companies are usually profitable very quickly, but then the challenge is, to grow it from this profitability and not slow down. And I think for that you need a partner, because it's harder to do alone. And we'd love to be that type of partner for you. As said, I think Boston is a big plus here. Like, we're go back to Boston. Actually, I would be landing in Boston in 2 weeks from now if it weren't for the virus. We had flights for the fall holidays for Indian summer. But long story short, so we'd love to do this with you. We would offer 10 million for half of the companies. Inject another 5 million into the company, because you need this kind of cushion, and then be joint owners and together make this 100 million, if not $1 billion company. That's my offer.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting offer. I mean, I guess the hesitation on, I feel like it's a little low. I feel like, to be honest, it's kind of what you guys have said. Is anything, any number you could throw out there now may just be low, given given that I think in 2 years, if we just keep growing, I mean, a $10 million a year business, gets multiple, the multiples go up.
So let me bring Andrew Warner back in, because Andrew predicted this. He said, listen, you've got a growing company. You're going to get some offers because it's a great business. Tim's is the most aggressive. Andrew, the deals kind of came in like you said they would. What advice would you give Chris now?
Here's my suggestion. It seems like what Tim is saying makes a lot. Everyone's saying the same thing.
I do
Fred,
like
who's seeing
the partner. That could
yeah. If Fred's the only one who's seeing like a great opportunity, he wants to jump in there, which is smart. But I think that Tim and Roger are saying the same thing, which is, look, it's too expensive for them to buy the whole thing at what it's really worth. Yeah. But they are also sensing that you're not getting pushed enough because you're in your own head and you're freaking good. So you don't need somebody to tell you stop doing stupid stuff. You do need somebody to say you don't need it right now. There's no danger, but start doing some things that will be risky and will take you to grow bigger than you have already. I'd suggest you probably want advisors who basically pay you to help you out, to be on your team. Why, instead of selling, why not just put together a small round where you'll bring in people who are in the business, who've been where you are, who would put in, I don't know, maybe 25 to 100,000 each. They'd take a small minority stake in the business and have a real interest in helping you out, and have a real interest in noticing the things that you're not noticing, but not so much of an interest that any one of them will start to bully you around and really take over this thing that you still feel possessive of, which you should. That's my suggestion. And frankly, I'd suggest that anyone here could help you put that together. I can help you put together a team of people. Tim, God knows Nathan could. Fred probably would salivate the whole time because he sees an opportunity here. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say, if you wanted to go the venture capital route, we can definitely help you there too. Well, obviously, what you'll need is a sexier team, but that's not that difficult to put together.
And then you'd be able to say, hey, Tim, I got this issue. Help me out here. And Tim will have a real incentive to do it. Raj, or frankly, maybe Tim will come over to Boston and just sit down with you and say, here's what I think you're not doing. Let's just shake this up. Be open with me now that we're partners. That's my suggestion to you, Chris. And I know that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. You're freaking good with if anyone has touched your software before, they know that you are a craftsman. You really care about the details, even software that you have no interest and no need to care so deeply about, you do. But I think that when it comes to the business part, you're not as excited to structure it, which probably makes you a great caretaker of your customers. But maybe I could see why that's making you feel a little bit boxed in and alone.
Yeah, even just in terms of like figuring out someone's salary, it's like, I have, like if someone comes up is like, oh, like I think this is, I should get paid more. It's like, well, let me talk to my board or whatever, but I have none. So it's like,
right. Just to send a freaking text to somebody who you're not pestering. Yes.
Yeah. So there's no one to bounce ideas off and be like, let me just see what such and such thinks or whatever. That kind
of board can be a great bad cop. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Chris, it's decision time. Let me summarize the four things. I'm going to leave Andrew on because he brought up another good point. So you've got Fred saying, I'd pay $10 million for this thing. You think it feels low to you, but his offer is sort of $10 million, 100%. Raj saying, I'd do a minority deal. I'd value the company overall at about $8.5 million. So he'd buy something less than 100% at an $8.5 million valuation. Tim saying, listen, I've got the best offer here by far. It's a $20 million total deal size. They put in $10 million immediately, right? Cash you take off the table. They put $5 million into the business, and then $5 million at some structure earn out that you can get after that. So $20 million deal price. And Andrew's saying, listen, Chris, you're a great entrepreneur. You need to be pushed on the business side, though. Put together a 5% sort of insider advisor round, sell them, have them each write a $100,000 check and get some good advisors around you. Yes or no to Fred's deal?
Yeah. Sorry. Fred's deal is just to sell it for 10 million. Is that?
That's what I would pay for it if we were to do a deal. I mean, I don't think you should take that deal. Obviously.
No. You jumped from Andrew's deal to your deal there. But
Tim brings up a good point, and he's probably the right guy to do it. But I've been there. I slept under my desk. Andrew knows. He came to my office. I slept under my desk for 9.5 years and ate cup of noodles. So I know the loneliness. I'm keenly familiar with it. And really, if I were to do it again, looking back at that period of my life, it's this concept of a partner. But then the question is, who is this partner, right? And somebody like Tim, who's been through this, who's done this, my background is really hardware and robotics, right? I would love to be that partner for you, but if I was an honest broker here, Tim is somebody like that you should definitely talk to.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you didn't want to, if you're willing to roll with it for a couple of more years, and put together, like Andrew said, and maybe a small, insider round, or even a seed round of some sort, you would have no problem raising the money. You're just going to need a couple of more business people around you.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we raise, let's say, $10 million, and we don't have another senior person helping me run this thing, then nothing's going to happen with the $10 million. It's going to sit there in the bank. And do absolutely nothing. So
that's what the insider round, that Andrew's suggesting is.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for Raj, but I'd gladly put $100K in this. Maybe even more, right? And I would love to help out in any way. I would even help you out without putting any money or having any financial incentive. I'm at that stage of my life that I'm paying it forward. But that's what I would do in your shoes.
Fred,
and if that's still
Thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you. All right, Chris, so there you have it. Again, undervaluation. He said, though, if you do an insider round, I would gladly put $100,000 in. Maybe he ends up putting $500,000 into Tim's fund if Tim ends up doing the deal and you guys do it together. Who knows? Let's go to Raj. So Raj, again, offer there was a 2x multiple on revenues. He's looking at MRR, not cash. So 4.4 or 4.8 in terms of run rate, valuing it at $9 million is what he'd pay. Want to do a minority deal? Do you like the offer? Yes or no?
No.
All right, Raj, thanks for coming on, dude.
Not enough. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's go, because I think this is two interesting concepts between Andrew and Tim. Andrew, just to be clear, if he did do, and Chris, I'm going to make this up, if you did put together, Chris, an advisory sort of board and made people pay to advise you, what portion of the company equity-wise could you allocate to a bunch of people writing $100,000 checks?
The number, in terms of where, I'd be comfortable, just if I'm still doing all the work here, and we're talking about today, the kind of the value that I put on DACA would be around $40 million.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons to do that. You look at HelloSign, which is in a lot of ways smaller than what we've done, and they were selling sold for $230 million. So there's a lot of arguments that can get us up to that kind of number. And maybe that 230 is just a couple years away. So in terms of if I were to, but 40 million I could do today because there's tons of risk, obviously. And if someone wanted to if we sold, what is 5% of 40 million there?
2 million.
Yeah, 2. So to
make this clear, I want to try and make this clear. What Andrew's saying, if you sold 5% of the company today and got a bunch of people to write $100,000 checks, adding up to 2 million. Right, so 20 people that are great advisors on the business side that you think will push you, all write a $100,000 check. They buy 5% of the company for $2 million. It's exactly your valuation, right? That is sort of one thing. Andrew, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a move for him, right?
Yeah, and I think the only way that I could really make that happen is with a strategic partner who's invested in the business and who can do that other, who can help me at the top level, which is what Tim's offering, I think, to an extent.
Yeah.
Which makes it interesting.
Yeah, let's go to Tim because we've got people saying Luke Harper.
Andrew, let me challenge your idea. I like your thinking. I think the thinking of you can bring people on board, but I think you don't want 20 people. That's too many cooks in the kitchen. You want maybe 2 or 3 people max who have a little bit more of a stake than just 100K. I have quite a few businesses as well, and of course, for me, it makes a ton of difference if I own 50% of a business, or even 100%, or if I own 0.1% or 0.2%.
Sure.
People are busy in their lives, so you need people who are really invested and who really business to really be able to help you and be a sparings partner, not just once, not just a call here and there, but kind of for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, what I need is someone actually who this is like their day job too. Like that's the kind of senior level person, that would, I think, be key to just get it, handling all this developing a sales team and doing marketing stuff and that kind of thing, and managing people. Like part of the big part of the reason why I have such a small team is it's like I'm our HR department right here. That takes time, and all the other things take time. But yeah, so if we can get someone top level who can who wants to be like CEO, we can give them a fancy title, and I can just do whatever it is that I do. I think that would be key. And I guess my concern with your offer, Tim, is it sounds like you would be invested in it, but how much time could you actually contribute to the business, on a given week or month, or is it a phone call, or are you doing this every day? Did that go through?
Tim?
There we go.
Tim, how involved could you be in the business if you did a deal?
Tim, can you hear us?
Sorry, now when it got really interesting, I can hear you, but just in the last 15 seconds when it was really interesting, my internet connection was kind of breaking up. Yeah. So could you please repeat the last kind of?
So yeah, I mean, I would love the idea of a partner who'd be in 50-50, but how it seems like financially your deal would put you in maybe 50-50, but what I think I need more is someone who's putting in the same time and commitment on a day-to-day basis. And so I guess my question to you is how much time would you actually be able to contribute?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. No, that's a very fair question, and obviously I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be a full-time person for this, but also in my experience that isn't necessary. Like I've been through that. I've grown now multiple companies to tens of millions of dollars in revenue, and it always kind of follows the same scheme. So I would be certainly involved on an ongoing basis. So it's like in a situation, it's not uncommon that I write 10 or 20 emails with an entrepreneur per week and have one call and per week or two, and maybe have a meeting every quarter or something. So but I think, I mean, you know that better than anyone else. Starting a company and running a company is a marathon, not a sprint. So you don't need me sitting on your lap. Like you would need me being around for the next 5 years to make this company like really big. Yeah. What I would help you though is bring people on board and choose people together who'd cover your weaknesses and do the stuff you don't want to do, which usually is kind of aligned. Usually the two things you don't want to do are things you're not good at. So probably admin stuff, marketing, sales, those kind of things. I mean, everybody has said that those are the areas which you just don't touch. And that's fair enough. I mean, we see a ton of businesses which are like yours. They have great product, great business, but they don't even do any marketing. Like we just bought a business a couple months ago, prerender.io. Same thing. It's like one guy, brilliant engineer, couple million in revenue. Cool. And he just didn't do any marketing, and that's fine. But of course, you have a big leverage if you do that. And for that, I would help kind of bring on people, but together. And I think it's really what I said a little earlier. It's being a good sparings partner and taking you out of your comfort zone. And that's not a full-time job, but it's a crucial few hours a week where I think I would really make a difference.
Yeah.
Guys, Andrew, real quick, because I know you're hanging out here. I want Chris and Tim to be able to get to a conclusion here yourself. Any last piece of advice for Chris? I mean, do you like a partner for Chris?
I feel like this is a huge leap for Chris, and he doesn't yet know Tim that well, and maybe there's a possibility there. Chris, I suggest you take Tim's phone number, and right after this, if this is who he is, and he's saying this publicly, so we're kind of calling him out on it. Look, he's smiling, so he's in agreement. Start taking him up on the offer for help before he invests anything. He'll get to know you as an entrepreneur and the way you think, and you'll get to see how much he could contribute to the business. And you might end up doing nothing together, or maybe this will be a first step towards something meaningful. But he could talk here a lot. If he actually comes through a lot, that's a major difference. And I think he's willing to. My sense with Chris is that he's someone who just can't help himself in these situations. So start there, and I do think at some point he's going to push you a little bit where you're so uncomfortable you're going to want to never talk to him again, but that's good.
Guys, Andrew Warner, always super empathetic advice. He's walked the walk, built his own company in his 20s to 30 million revenue, sold it, now runs Mixergy. Check it out. Andrew Warner, thanks for coming on Dealer of Us, man. All right, Chris, it's decision time. You've heard Tim's offer. This is your guys' show at this point. You can counter, you can accept, you can do what you want. What's your response to Tim's offer?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be interesting to I feel like I could get some of that advice for free, I guess, as Andrew was just saying. And then, as far as, getting another $10 million, it's not, I don't think that's going to do that much for us. And I think, we currently, I think our valuation would just, maybe the $20 million valuation is too low. And I think,
Chris, what would you counter with?
I mean, yeah, the $40 million number would be interesting. It'd be interesting to do something like $40 million and maybe Tim gets like 25%. And then, he'd be committed. That'd be interesting.
So, Chris, just to repeat that, you're saying you try and convince Tim to give you a $40 million valuation, but have him just buy 25% of the company. Tim, what's your response to that?
And sorry, and with that, we need to get a senior person in here to help co-manage this business. Otherwise, the $10 million is not going to do anything. So that's, I guess, that's what the offer would be for a counter here.
Yeah, I think Andrew was right. It's a hard thing with the show. This is a show. I think it's on both sides. You shouldn't, Chris, you shouldn't make a commitment like that without having talked to me a few times and ideally met. Although, we've done multi-million-dollar deals now completely over the phones. It should be a problem, but at least we've been able to spend some time and really get to know each other. Likewise, I shouldn't be spending 10 million just based on a 60-minute conversation in Nathan's show. So I think both of the things are kind of pending due diligence. So I think we can take Andrew's advice and and we should take it and meet after the show. But I think your deal, it sounds like we're in a zone of possible agreement, like 25%. Probably not at 10, but a little lower could be something where we might even agree upon. It's a little high. It's definitely higher than what we paid. But if we have a clear route, we have a clear plan of what we do together, then that could be the value of your company. But it also means, to be fair to all entrepreneurs out there, it means you would commit to another 4 or 5 years being in this together. If you want to sell a business and just kind of essentially dump it on someone's lap and it's like, okay, here's my baby, take it, do something good with it, which a lot of entrepreneurs want, then you'd be really more in the 20 million range. But those are really two fundamentally different concepts. And so, for example, one thing in our call, I'd love to understand really where you are in life. Like, is it that one route or is it that other route? And that is more important than any cash number and anything when making up your decision.
I guess if I sold DocHub today, I guess the what I can say as far as like, am I going to retire and just travel the world? I would suspect that I could try that. But what I guess my grandfather did is he made a ton of money, tried to sell his company, and his wife was going to file for divorce if he didn't go back to work. So then, he kept working. So I suspect that, my wife probably wouldn't even give me like a year off. But, I think I'm going to keep doing stuff, and DocHub is pretty exciting. So
guys, just jump in real quick to create clarity. This is not a hyper-produced Shark Tank. This is obviously, we try and get as close to a deal as possible, but there's always diligence on the back end. Those of you watching, I'm curious, would you do a deal? It sounds like they're very close. You guys predict they're going to do diligence after this. Yes or no? Do you think they do a deal? And Chris, let's wrap this show up with a simple sort of yes or no from you. Are you open to sort of doing and selling somewhere between 25 and 50% of the company for Tim for somewhere between a $20 and $40 million valuation?
Yeah, I think that actually could be interesting.
Guys, very good. Tim, thanks for coming on. Let's guys do the deal.
And me, same on my end. That range, I think, is right in our range, and I think we should get together and we should talk about doing this deal.
Cool. All right.
Awesome. Tim, thanks for coming on. Chris, what do you think, man? I mean, again, we do this show. Who knows if things happen or not? You can't actually get a real deal done, but you can get really darn close. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting. It's interesting to read the comments, and they're kind of all over the place too. But there's been a lot of love for DocHub. We have a lot of pride in our product, and we'll see what happens.
Guys, good stuff. If you're watching,
whatever happens, we're excited to see what happens in the next couple of years.
Yep. Guys, if you're watching right now and thinking, I want to sell my company, or you have cash and you want to buy a company, go to nathanlatka.com/casting. We'll get you set up on a future show after you and I talk one-on-one. Again, Chris, I want to thank you. This is not possible without you coming on and being super vulnerable, putting all your finances out there. Again, to summarize, he's built DocHub to a machine, unbelievable machine, less than 5 people on the team, $3.2 million in gross revenue last year, 1.6 profit after paying himself a $500,000 salary, projected to break $5.6 million this year and profit about $4 million. Chris, you're doing it the right way, man. Thanks for coming on Deal or Bust.
All right. Thank you, Nathan.
All right, guys. Again, I have to thank you, John Lane, Justin Novak, Matthew Verghese, Marcus Hickman, all of you guys in the comments. I'm watching you on LinkedIn. I'm watching you on Facebook. I'm watching you live on Twitter. If you guys want us to do more of these episodes, they are not easy. We've got to get great buyers who actually have money, by the way. There's a lot of fake buyers that want to come on a great show, but they can't actually write a check. These guys can write checks. We need great buyers. We need great founders like Chris, and we need great experts like Andrew, the Andrews, and David. And you help me bring those people on by sharing this episode with your friends. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes on Twitter, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn engaging with all your comments. Go ahead and do that now. And again, I want to thank you guys for making this such a fun show. Most importantly, big thanks to Chris. Amy B saying, great job with Chris. Great episode for both. Justin saying, if no one's going to invest with him, do some debt financing. Stay away from this one on this one. He doesn't need debt. He has plenty of capital. No need to pay me an interest rate. But guys, thank you so much. John Lane saying, holy smokes, this is awesome. Guys, you just finished watching another episode of Deal or Bust. I'm Nathan Latka, and I'll see you next week at 1 p.m. Central. Take care. Bye-bye.